नीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Hare Krishna everyone. Today I will continue reading chapter 14 of Prabupada Lilamrita. Ramurti Mishra. I have never seen or met any devotee who sang so much, and his Krishna was just ambrosial. If you pay attention and become relaxed, that voice has very electrical vibrations on your heart. You cannot avoid it. 99% of the students, whether they liked it or not, got up and danced and chanted. And I felt very blessed to meet such a great soul. Harvey Cohen, a visitor to Ananda Ashram. Everyone got up early and went to morning meditation. Dr. Mishra was dressed in a golden Indian style jacket, and his students were already deeply into it when I entered the room. All the cushions were taken, so I picked a spot in the back of the room where I could lean against the wall to facilitate my meditation. Seated at one side was an older Indian man in saffron cloth and wrapped in a pinkish wool blanket. He seemed to be muttering to himself, and I later discovered that he was praying. It was Swami Bhakti Vedanta. His forehead was painted with a white V shaped sign, and his eyes were half shut. He seemed very serene. Harvey tried, but he couldn't do Raja Yoga. He was new to Ananda Ashram and had only come up for a weekend retreat. During his meditation, he found himself more attracted to the green mist above the lake outside the window than to the circle on the wall he was supposed to be meditating on. Harvey, I went to my room. The rain was increasing and beating against the windows. It was peaceful, and I was glad to be alone. I read for a while. Suddenly, I sensed someone standing in the doorway. Looking up, I saw it was the Swami. He was wrapped in his pink blanket, like a shawl. Can I come in? He asked. I nodded yes. And he asked if he could sit in the chair in the corner. What are you reading? He smiled. Kafka's Diaries, I replied, feeling a little embarrassed. Ah, he said, and I put the book down. He asked what I was doing at the ashrama and if I was interested in yoga. What kind of yoga are you studying? I don't know much about it, I answered, but I think I would like to study Hatha Yoga. This did not impress him. There are better things than this, he explained. There are higher, more direct form of yoga. Bhakti yoga is the highest. It is the science of devotion to God. As he spoke, I got overpowering realization that he was right. He was speaking the truth. A creepy, ecstatic sensation came over me that this man was my teacher. His words were so simple, and I kept looking at him all weekend. He would sit so calm and dignified with warmth, and he asked me to visit him when we got back to the city. Dr. Mishra would give lectures carrying the impersonal interpretation of Bhagavad Gita according to Shankara, and Prabupada, when allowed to speak, would counter them. Once Prabhupada asked Dr. Mishra to help him in spreading Lord Chaitanya's movement, but Dr. Mishra sidestepped Prabhupada by saying that he considered Prabhupada an incarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and therefore not in need of help. Prabhupada replied that since Mishra was also the name of Lord Chaitanya's father, Dr. Mishra should help spread Lord Chaitanya's movement. Srila Prabhupada offered to engage him in checking the Sanskrit to his translations of Shrimad Bhagavatam, but Dr. Mishra declined, a decision he later regretted. Laj, a student at Anand Ashram, My direct encounter with him was in the kitchen. He was very particular and very definite that he would only eat what he cooked himself. He would come and say, "Get me a pot." So when I brought him a pot, he would say, "No, bigger." So I brought a bigger pot and he would say, "No, smaller." Then he would say, "Get me a potato." So I bring him a potato. He prepared food very, very quietly. He never spoke very much. He prepared potatoes and then some vegetables, then chapatis. After cooking, he would eat outside. He would usually cook enough to go around for Dr. Mishra and about five or six other people. Every day he would cook that much when he was there. I learned to make chapatis from him. He usually stayed only for the weekends and then went back to the city. I think he felt that was where his main work was to be done. That was certainly true. But what could he do there with no money or support? He was thinking of staying only for a few weeks and then going back to India. In the meantime, he was working on his Srimad Bhagavatam manuscripts, walking in Manhattan, and writing letters. He was studying a new culture, calculating particularly and imagining hopefully how to introduce Krishna consciousness to the Western world. He expressed his thoughts to Sumati Moraji, October 27. So far as I have studied, the American people are very much eager to learn about the Indian way of spiritual realization, and there are so many so called yoga ashrams in America. Unfortunately, they are not very much adored by the government, and it is learned that such yoga ashrams have exploited the innocent people, as has been in case in India also. The only hope is that they are spiritually inclined and immense benefit can be done to them if the cult of Shrimad Bhagavatam is preached here. Srila Prabhupada noted that the Americans were also giving a good reception to Indian art and music. Just to see the mode of reception, he attended the performance of a Madrasi dancer Bala Saraswati. I went to see the dance with a friend. Although for the last 40 years I have never attended such a dance ceremonies. The dancer was successful in her demonstration. The music was in Indian classical tune, mostly in Sanskrit language, and the American public appreciated them. So I was encouraged to see the favorable circumstances about my future preaching work. He said the Bhagavatam could also be preached through the music and dance, but he had no means to introduce it. The Christian missions, backed by huge resources, were preaching all over the world. So, why wouldn't the devotees of Krishna combine to preach the Bhagavatam all over the world? He also noted that Christian missions had not been effective in checking the spread of communism, whereas Bhagavatam movement could be because of its philosophical scientific approach. He was deliberately planting a seed of inspiration in the mind of the devoted wealthy Sumati Muraji. So I will stop here and so, my realization from today's reading is Ramurthy Mishra, who used to be a doctor by profession and became yoga teacher, has never seen or met any devotee like Prabhupada who sang so much. And Have Cohen, one of the student of Mishra in Anand Ashram, said Prabhupada seemed always praying and calm and peaceful. And Have told Prabhupada that he wanted to study Hatha Yoga, but Prabhupada said he will teach him better things than that, and that is Bhakti Yoga, and that is the highest, and is the science of devotion to God. And Have felt that Prabhupada was right and telling the truth. And Hertlach, as student at Ananda Ashram, used to help Prabhupada in the kitchen, and he learned to make chapatis from Prabhupada. And Prabhupada would stay in the Ananda Ashram for the weekends and then went back to the city. Um, but Prabhupada had no money and support, and thinking of staying only for a few weeks and going back to India. And in the meantime, he was working on his Srimad Bhagavatam manuscripts, and he was imagining how to introduce Krishna consciousness to the Western world. And Prabhupada used to write letters to Sumati Moraji that Americans are interested in Indian philosophy and immense benefit can be done to them if the cult of Srimad Bhagavatam is preached here.